Hello, hello, everybody. Elisa Meredith here with someone you may recognize, Jeff Sieh. We are going to be talking about how to start your own live show. Jeff is the one to do it. Jeff produced the Tailwind show. He produces Guy Kawasaki's show, Remarkable People, and he's a big fan of all things tech and geek. So,
Nerd. Yes.
and nerd, and
Yes.
nerd, yes.
That is me. Thank you, Elisa, for that.
Jeff, thanks for being here.
Yeah, it's excited. It's fun. It's this way to kick off the new year. It's really
Absolutely.
hard for me though, not being able to press buttons. I'll tell
I
you that
know.
much.
I am in control,
I
so
know,
you're
which
just
is
gonna have to get
really
used to it.
even when we did it before, you were I could put Elisa in the corner and I can't do that
I
now.
know
So
you cannot put me
yeah.
in the corner. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. So I'm really happy we're doing this now because I feel like now is the time when people are maybe feeling a little overwhelmed. They definitely have goals for the year, and live shows, they just check so many of the boxes of things people are trying to do right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe if you're watching, welcome. Hello everyone. Brian, good evening to you as well. Let us
Where's
know where
Brian
you
at now? Is
are.
he still in Italy?
I
He's
don't
always
know.
across. He's just
So it's
gallivanting
going
across.
somewhere, making us
Yeah,
jealous.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Okay. So if you're watching live or on the replay, let us know, what are some of your goals for 2022? Do any of them involve a live show? Uh,
Or wearing pants. Are you going to wear pants in 2022?
oh, that
Because
that
that's the
is
one thing we're probably talking about today is one of the benefits of live videos. You don't have to wear pants.
nice. That's kind of a lofty goal. I don't know. I
Hmm.
don't know if we can
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think one of the things we might want to start off is um, why why would somebody want to do a live show?
So as you know, I'm stoked. I've always been stoked about live video because I don't think
Yeah.
there's anything else out there where you can communicate directly with people across the globe like you can with live video and have it be interactive. And we'll talk about this later, but um, the tools that you have now. I mean, you have a television studio in your pocket. I remember when I first started, we had to cobble things together, and it was really hit and miss. And now it is so easy. But people are embracing live video. So I've got some stats because I knew you were going to ask this question
Oh,
that I was going to share with you because
yes,
I looked
please.
this up the other day. So So we're going to talk about Facebook Live, which is one of the ways that you can go live really, really easily. People spend 3 times more time watching a Facebook Live video than one that's not live. And I've always said in the past is like, if you're going to do a live video, you have to interact with people. Like Elisa already talked to Brian in the comments. It's got to be a community-based thing if you're doing live video. Otherwise, just record a video and upload it to YouTube, which is fine. A lot of people do that. A lot of money is made over
Yeah.
there. A lot of businesses do that. That's great. But for me, live video has always been about the interactive experience, and that's what makes live video really, really cool. So more people will watch that. Like Facebook Lives, which kind of people poo-poo a lot. It's grown 4 times, in the course of years. It's grown that fast, that big. Um,
What does that mean as far as how many minutes people are watching?
yes,
Or oh, okay.
it's all this live streaming. Globally, they've said has increased 21% between the third quarter of 2020 and the third quarter of 2021. So a 21% increase, which is a decent increase.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing, and I got pushed back when I shared this on because a lot of bloggers watch this, but this was from Livestream. They conducted a survey with the New York Magazine, and 80% of consumers would rather watch a live video from a brand than read a blog. So my friend Justin Stout, who's a blogger, is like, no, that can't be right. I don't believe it. But that's what this survey said. And 82% of people prefer live video from a brand to social posts. That's why people do much live video on the social channels because most people would rather watch that. So those are just some
Makes sense.
stats. But I love live video because I can communicate directly to the community, and nothing else has the reach like
Yeah.
live video does.
Yeah. And like Brian tells me he's walking home in Barcelona, which
That is so cool.
I'm rolling my eyes in envy.
Yes.
But I mean, you can't read. It's really hard to read a blog post or a social post while you're walking, but you can absolutely listen to a
That's
live
right.
show, right? And you
That's
can
right.
stop for a minute and send a little message. Yeah.
And it's great for for people to get to know you who haven't ever met you before. And you and I have both been to conferences before where people come in to be, oh, we love watching you when we did the Tailwind show. We love seeing you guys. They feel like they know you because they
Yeah.
see you. They see the expressions on your face. They see, that I need a haircut. I mean, all that stuff. They know that there's this connection that happens with live video that, unfortunately, I mean, there's a place for writing content. I'm not saying blog posts are dead or anything like that, but
Right.
there's something that really can connect you with your audience by going live and talking directly with them, letting them see your face, the reactions. Same way with podcasting, which you could, we'll talk about repurposing later, but taking that live video and being in somebody's ear. You mentioned Brian is watching. Hopefully, he's not watching us at the same time and not walking into
A tree.
things, yeah, tree or
Yes.
something, or a street sign or something, because he's listened to us. But there's something intimate about being in somebody's ear and having a conversation with them. So, yeah, there's just something about it that just is magical.
Yeah, Brian has pulled over again, hopefully.
Yes.
So he feels like he's gotten to know a little bit about us.
Yeah.
And I think it goes both ways. We feel like we know him at this point as well.
And that's the cool thing too about live video is like we've noticed for Brian's always in the comments, and when he's not there, we know something's up. On my
We
show,
cry a little, yeah.
yeah, Brian comes to my show on Fridays, and when he's not there, there's something, and Sabrina, who's another one who's always there on my show. I mean, it's, you just know these people and they're part of the community, and there's something really powerful about community.
That's right. That's right. And we have our friend Phoebe Moon as well, wondering if
Oh,
her customers community would like a live video.
I bet they would. I bet they would, Phoebe. Yeah.
Yeah. So give a little thought. What do you think it might be about? Drop that in the comments. We'll work that in a little bit. Okay, so we can build a community. Is there anything else? Like, what else has
So
live shows or live show producing done for you?
the real, okay, well, it's so I have always liked bringing on experts and talking with them, and it, even
Mhm.
though if you do not know, if you're not like the top of your, like, I am not the go-to person for live video. There's a lot of other people who that's their brand. But if I interview a lot of people about live video, then I get some of that rubbed off, and I become an authority on that. I mean, the same way with Pinterest. I came into Pinterest not knowing anything, but I'd interview people about Pinterest, and then all of a sudden, oh, Jeff's a Pinterest expert. Nah, I kind of interview people who are.
Yeah, but
But
you learn along the way
right, yeah,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's one of the things that allows you to, when you become authority, if you're speaking and you can speak and hold a conversation. There's so much about live video interviews, I think, that is asking the right questions
Hmm.
and listening. There's a lot of people who also do it wrong, and they're just there blasting and trying to sell something or whatever. But if you always are thinking your audience and asking questions that your audience would want to, hear, a lot of times I talk about when I prepare for a live video, I always have 10 questions ready. Most of the time I don't use them all, because usually somebody in my audience will ask that question, and usually in a better way, and I can grab that and pull it in, and they are part of the conversation. But they know that I'm going to ask their question, and I want to bring them up on screen. If you do a good job of that, people will wait till the end of your show with a chance that you might bring up their comment or question. So I mean,
Yeah.
it's really really interactive, and that's what I love about live video. The other thing is, now with the technology, like, I can see that Phoebe came in from YouTube,
Hmm.
and so we're there's all this question about, should we multicast, and are you spreading your message too thin? I don't feel that way.
Mm.
I love being able to go like, hey Phoebe, over on YouTube, thank you for watching. We really appreciate it, because people are consuming content where they want to, and it's what's more
Exactly.
comfortable for them.
Yeah.
And now with the technology, like I use Ecamm, and we're using StreamYard right now, and Restream, and all these things where they can pull in comments from multiple places. It's a game changer, and it's pretty amazing that you can do that.
Yep. Could not agree more. Okay, so let us know if this is sounding appealing to you, if you want that for your business or for your brand. But Jeff, there are a lot of live shows.
There are.
There are. So I know you not that long ago started one yourself. I started one myself not very long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Is it too late for us to find success? Is it too late if we want to start tomorrow?
No, if you have I mean, it's everybody starts at zero. So I was the host. Grace and I were the host of a pretty big show over at Social Media Examiner, and then we left and started our own show, and we started at zero. And it is hard. Like if you have done something for a brand or something where you have all these viewers and all this stuff, but they weren't mine. They were I was renting myself out for to be the host on somewhere else. But when you start it, everybody starts at zero, and we have just done we've done a year. We started last year, and we've
Has it
just
been
finished a
that
year
long?
at Social Media News Live, and we have built a community that I love. And I was supposed to go 2 weeks, and I had to come back during the vacation because I missed them so much, and I wanted to talk with them and bring some value to them. So everybody starts with zero. I do not think it's too late. Just don't go into it thinking like we all think like, oh, I'm going to start live and I want to have 500 people watch all at once. And that's probably not realistic. So have some realistic expectations. Have your friends come in and help you out. Like call in some favors and say, hey, can you just come in and leave some comments for me so I don't feel like I'm talking to nobody? And then it's just being consistent. I mean, it may be nobody shows up at first, but if you're consistent and you have a good message and you promote other people, then I think you can succeed.
I think so too. Hey, have you noticed, because I know I have, that when you talk about certain topics, you get better attendance?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like it's the same way. Like if you think about this is how I listen to podcasts. There's rarely a podcast I'll listen to every episode they come out. Most of the time, I'm scrolling through looking at, oh, I want to hear this guest, or I want to hear this story, or this kind of thing. And a lot of people do that with the content they're watching online. Some people may not be interested in email marketing on that
Mm,
episode, but they're really interested in how to grow their Instagram. And you'll see a
yeah.
bump on different things. And sometimes it's casting the net and seeing what works, and sometimes you just do it because you need to have a broad range that you're serving up your audience, because they may not need email marketing help right now, but later on in their business they may need it, and they can go, oh, I remember, I'm going to go back and watch that. And so I think that there are topics that just do better. Um, Niche stuff like business things can be harder than like a Disney podcast or something like that, where you have this huge fan base, or doing or a live show about Lost or a gaming thing.
Mm,
Um,
mhm.
you know, so you have to have good expectations of what you're trying to do, and think it through, and like not be discouraged when you don't have 500 people watching your live stream at once.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things I wish I could turn off on StreamYard is it shows you how many people are watching
Yeah,
live.
that can be discouraging sometimes. Yeah.
Yes. Yes,
Or
it
it's
can
really
be.
bad when when it shows it to your guests, and they're like, "Why am I here?" You
I was
know,
hoping it didn't. It doesn't, right?
I don't see it. No, but I mean, on some platforms it does,
Yeah.
and so it's like, and they could always go and look and see what's going on. But no, it's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm happy when anyone shows up. So, okay, not too late to start a new live show, but, and this we kind of talked about a little bit, but do you
Mm-hmm.
have to have an audience? Like, what if nobody knew you at all?
Well, a lot of people don't know me at all. One of the things, and this is why I've always loved doing interview type shows, and I actually have a co-host for Social Media News Live, like I did at Social Media Examiner with Grace, who is amazing, helps produce the show, and then like you and I did over at Tailwind, is that one, when you have that co-host, you can kind of balance things. Like a lot of times I'll put up Grace full screen and I'll be reading the comments or seeing what's next or whatever, and that kind of can help you do the show. But the other thing is when you bring on guests, like these experts like I like to bring on, or people who are authority in something, what it allows you to do is share their audience. And most all guests will share it out to their channels. And when you do that enough times, especially if you have a lot of people who are, have more followers or are deeper in that niche than you are, when they share that out, you can gather some. There are people like, oh, I really liked, Elisa being on Jeff's show. I'm going to follow her and watch her show, and
Mm,
and then so you can slowly grow audiences that way. There's some new tools. I'm going to jump right ahead to the tools thing. One of the things is
okay.
with Restream, they have this thing called Restream Pairs now. In fact, like if Lisa was coming on my show, I would give her the show link so she could join in and we could go live.
Hmm.
Um, and then I give her another link where like, here, you can now share this with your social channels without me having to log in or anything. It's a link. She goes in there and says, yes, I want to share to Facebook, Instagram, and it does it automatically in Restream pairs, and
Oh.
also lets me pull in comments from her places. But she doesn't have to
Hmm.
give up any of her privacy stuff, and it's a one-time thing. It is a game changer. So I really love that. And that's a great way to share audiences. Like when I
Yeah.
have Mark Schaefer on, I'm saying, hey, Mark, if you want, no pressure, but you can share this out to your by using this link, and it's super easy.
Yeah.
And that makes a huge difference now because most everybody will do that to at least one of their channels.
Yeah. One of the things I like to do is in the agenda, I also include email copy, which is what I
Oh,
will
that's
send
great.
to
Yeah.
my people.
Yeah.
And I'll say, hey, you as the guest, feel free to take that, do whatever you want with it. No
Mm-hmm.
pressure, like you said. But,
Yeah.
in all the years I've done a live show, and I think I started in 2015, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
I've only ever had one guest say no. Like, they were they were too fancy for my show. But
Yeah.
most people will come on, especially if they have like a new book coming out
Mm-hmm.
or something that they want to promote. People are pretty generous with their time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it really does make a difference when they share it out, and you can you sit and you really do. If you do a good job, then you will get viewers from people sharing it out. It just is it's just the way it is. So
Yeah.
if you're doing something that interests them, so
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's why it's another good idea to at least for me, I like to pull different people. I'm always looking like for like, oh, okay, that's somebody who is outside of my audience, but would also, it would fit. Like I spoke at Momentum, which was in Disney, and one of the guys was a Disney kind of influencer, but he had some great stuff on TikTok, and I'm always looking for new TikTok people on how to do that. So he's not like if you look through like social media TikTok influencers, he's not like a Rachel Peterson, but he's using TikTok to really, grow his brand and his business, which would be great for my audience. And so I
Mm-hmm.
have him scheduled to come on. So always, I'm always
Oh,
looking for
cool.
people who like, okay, that's maybe not the number one like TikTok influencer or speaker or whatever, but they have a really great success story and they're really smart about it. I want to share them and elevate them,
Yeah.
and that can really help too.
I think after a while, especially if someone does have a new book coming out or something, they tend to make the circuit, right? So they're on
Right.
every single
Mhm.
podcast. And after a while, people are like, they just kind of want to hear a different perspective.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's a
Okay.
lot of pitches that happen too. Once you start doing a show, you will start, especially on LinkedIn, you'll get a lot of pitches, and they're like, "Hey, we love your show. How about blah blah?" And they'll send somebody who would have no fit at all. They didn't
Yeah.
even watch your show. It's some
No.
some automatic AI or VA or somebody sending stuff, and it drives me. Eric gets the same thing. He
Yeah.
gets beyond the to do list, but oh gosh, yeah, and Guy gets them all the time as well.
I'm sure he does. Yeah. Okay. So we talked about, will anyone show up? No, probably not. At
At the beginning,
the
at the
beginning,
beginning, but
but they will.
but the cool thing now is with like we were saying, all the different channels you can go to, you have a better chance of success because if you have most everybody has one that's higher than another. Like, oh, I have more over on Twitter or wherever, and you can bring them in and
Yeah.
start that way.
Yep. Just don't get discouraged. It'll
Right.
take a little while, but it will pick up. Okay, now, what should my show be about? And I'm looking at you, Phoebe Moon.
Yeah.
I
So
wanna Yeah.
one of the things you can do to start with, and a lot of businesses who I've consulted with or I talk about, is that what are you getting questions about? Make a list. Like if you have something like I always do the flower shop. If you're a local flower shop, what is the questions you get the most? Is it I don't know what kind of flowers to send to a funeral? Do a show about that. Here's the best ones and here's why and here's the history behind it, and I have this person in who grows these type of flowers and we're going to talk about it, how to keep them alive after it, whatever. I don't know, something like that. And so you think of all those questions that you have or that people have asked you, um, and do some about that. So most businesses who've been in
Oh, are you locked up? Is Jeff locked up for anyone besides me?
business for a while have a can you hear me? Hello?
Hi, we lost you for a minute.
That was weird. I lost you too. I don't
Huh.
know.
Okay.
Luckily, it's not my show. Jeez, that would be
Yeah,
embarrassing.
right.
That would be
So
embarrassing.
embarrassing. Well, we're making Phoebe Moon panic a little bit. We're putting her on the spot, but I bet you get questions too. What questions do you get?
Or for me,
No,
give
no,
them a
no. I'm asking Phoebe Moon, and yeah,
oh,
Brian says give you a poke.
yeah.
Come back, come back.
I don't know what happened. That was weird. So
Yeah,
my internet's fine. So
Texas internet. Okay.
it's
Okay.
probably
So
yours.
what were okay? What it should be about? So if you have a flower shop,
Oh
people are
yeah.
asking you certain questions.
Yeah. Frequently asked questions is where you would start for your show,
No.
kind of figure out what you would do. And if you that's where I would start, and then keep building. And once you start building that community, ask them like, hey, we would do that all the time over on Tailwind. We would like, hey, would you guys like another this or this? And they're like, yes, and stuff we would never think. Like I never would have
Yes.
thought reviewing pins would be that popular because I would never do that. I would never submit anything for people to review it personally. But they really wanted us to talk
We
about
did.
those, and
Yep.
those were some of our most popular shows. And it was bonkers, but that was because we asked and we saw a response, and so we did more of those. We started planning those out. So
Yeah.
I think asking your audience is important too.
Okay, so I'm going to ask my audience right now because honestly, what I have been doing is what I want to learn about and people I want to talk to.
Right, and that's
So
fine to do when you first start, because this is
yeah,
you just like we did. You had to start from zero, and
yeah,
you got to start over. Yeah.
yeah. But
So.
I definitely noticed that my Pinterest topics get higher viewership,
Mm-hmm.
which makes sense because that's what people think of me.
Right.
I think
And
about
follow you
when they think
for.
about me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But if you're watching, if you're listening, and you have something you think that would be good to cover on the show, let us know. We'll get somebody in to talk about that. Okay, what should it be about? Now, I have seen Brian doing a couple of lives.
Oh,
So,
I
yeah,
haven't
so
seen that.
very proud, very
Yeah.
proud. Um, all right, formats.
Right.
So, there are a couple different formats you could go with. You could do an interview, you can have a co-host or not, you can have guests or not, or you can just talk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, how do you pick which one? And are there other
Which
formats I missed?
which one you're most comfortable with? I always was really it was I always call them back when Periscope was big. It was like the Periscope type talks where you would just turn on the camera and start blabbing away. I am not good at that's not my comfort zone. It's not. So
Same.
I always liked having somebody, even when I first started way back in the day when I did the Manly Pinterest Tip Show, we had 4 other people on there, and it was pretty much everybody asked a question and the show was over. I mean, because that was about all the time we had. Um, and so that's what I always liked, that being, like I said, be able to bounce it over like you're doing. You would bring me up full screen and let you do something, let you take a drink of water, look ahead on
Yep.
what's coming up, the comments, all that kind of
At the
stuff.
cat. Yep.
Yeah, get the cat out of the curtains. Um, but so that's why I always liked it. It gave, and plus to me, it was more visually interesting when I could cut to the guest full screen, or I could cut to my co-host while they were asking a question. That to me, I wanted to catch people's attention in the feed. That's what made sense to me. Now, a lot of people kill it by doing what you're seeing here now with me, just the talking head. Ian Anderson Gray does that as well. My friend, and he is the poster child to me of building community, is Lou Mangello. He does that on Wednesday nights a lot, where he'll just sit there in his office and talk to the community and give them a top 10 list, and they'll talk through that. And he gets 150, 200 people live watching his show. And then when he goes in the parks live and showing off something, he gets even more viewers. So, I mean,
I bet.
he mixes it up, but he does it in a way that builds community. And that's, once again, I'm going to be banging that drum for a long time. I think everything moving forward in live video and social and stuff like that is, how do you build a community around your brand, and not in a way that's squeamish or like I'm going to use them to do my.
He's gone again. Yeah. Community, huge. And I think, and hopefully I'm not talking.
Tests and all this stuff. It's more of like,
We lost you again. And he's frozen. That's not a great shot. I want to pull up Phoebe Moon's comment here. She can do quilting demos, but requires some setup. Yeah, it would. On the plus side, you could repurpose those lives to YouTube. You absolutely can do that. And then, yeah, asking in your next newsletter what people would like to see is a great idea, because then you can always let them know, hey, I'm doing this thing you want, and then they'll probably show up because you did that for them. Jeff, you were frozen.
Am I still frozen?
No, you're back.
Yeah, I just told Abby to turn off what she's doing. I don't know what she's doing.
Thank you.
But my internet's fine. I think it's yours.
You think it's mine?
Yeah.
Mine is freezing you over there in Texas.
I think it's what's happening.
Definitely. Yes, I've missed you, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
We have a comment here from Horse Crazy, and then we're going to talk about this a little bit more coming up. But do you use something like Descript to save your live, upload to Descript, and then have it transcribed via voice? That gives you the transcription blog post, anything like this? Yes.
You want me to talk about it now?
Yeah, why don't you? Go ahead.
Okay, so Descript has changed everything. So we have used it for 2 years over at Guy Kawasaki's, from the very beginning, from his show. We use it for podcast editing and other stuff. I use it for all of my lives, and I use it as a repurposing tool. So what I do is, as soon as the show's over, I drag it to Descript. I get the transcript. Everything starts with a transcript. And so after that transcript is done, I go through it. I add kind of break it down. I export that for my blog post. I take those clips out of Descript, take them into a template, and then have all of those become repurposable over for all my socials. So if you look at my Twitter feed, that's all I'm doing is I'm getting, for every episode, I get 3 or 4 clips, and then I add them to a queue, and it's just constantly going to, if you look at my Facebook, and it's just it's amazing. It's how everything goes through Descript now.
Okay, so I think we need to explain why it is so magical.
Because you can edit. So if you can edit a Word doc, now you can edit video or audio. So you can go in and, let's say you didn't like a section, that whole section where I went blank, when I stopped talking, you could just highlight that section in Descript and hit delete, and it would make a cut. It's really handy for audio. There's some things it's not a full-blown audio editor, but it saves me tons of time. Mm-hmm. And being able to have a transcript is amazing.
Yeah, I love it too. I just want you to know that Karen says it's you, because you're pixelated.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I think you're okay now. I think having Abby turn it off was good. Yeah, but you know what I saw? Somebody posted on Twitter that the Creator Studio in Facebook now has an option very much like that, where it creates the transcript for you, and you can highlight the parts you want and create clips from it, and that's free.
Yeah. The thing about Descript it lets you do is it goes to so many different formats. So I can take a section and it shoots it over to Headliner. I also use it for all if you look at any of my clips, I actually have the subtitles come underneath when people are talking for those clips. The thing is I don't have to upload it to another service. I can just export it right out of Descript into that. I can actually take it and put it into Adobe Premiere or Adobe Audition right from Descript and do any fine tuning that I need to do. It's just a huge time saver, and it's so stinking fast. And you have so many exports out of it. Like I said, audio
it is pretty cool.
A video file, and a transcript, all done.
Yeah. And how much does that cost?
I don't know. It's not that much. Because if you and it's one of the better AI transcripts that I've seen. They do have a white glove service, which is like Rev, which allows you to, some human goes and actually types it and gets it all figured out. But Rev's really expensive. If you do a show every week and it's like $1.50 a minute, that can add up really quick.
Yeah. Okay, I looked it up real quick. It starts at $12 a month.
Yeah.
For 10 hours of transcriptions a month. I was thinking it was a lot more than that, because it's pretty amazing. Okay. All right. Good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about equipment, because like you said, years ago, the first show that I really produced myself, I had the whole mixing board, and I went all out. What do you really need if you want to start a show and you don't want to spend a ton of money and get yourself confused?
A phone.
Just like that.
You don't need to get a bunch of stuff. You could start with a phone. A lot of people did. I started with the camera and mic on my iMac way back in the day. Then I slowly upgraded. One of the things you want to remember is people will forgive bad video. They will not forgive bad audio. So The first people are always like, what should I upgrade first? It's always the microphone. And you don't have to get like this, I was lucky enough that the folks at Heil gave this to me to
Mm.
use. And so it's a really great microphone. It's probably about I think it's a $400 mic, but you don't have to have this. I used a Blue Yeti, which is right around $100 for years, and it was
Yep.
perfectly fine.
Yeah. I had a blue snowball for a lot
Yeah,
of years too.
I
Yeah.
used a Logitech webcam that clipped on the top of my thing for years until I
That's what I
upgraded.
still have. Yeah.
Yeah, until I finally upgraded to I have a Canon mirrorless camera above right for what I'm using now. And so yes, you don't have to have a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's nice, and once you start doing it, you can kind of rationalize the expense.
Yeah.
Um, I have stuff now that I can actually. I have a Stream Deck, which allows me to bring up my lower thirds, and all the cool stuff that I can do. Because see, Lisa can't control
I
that.
know.
Ha
I
ha
have
ha
no
ha.
control.
But so I mean, but that's just handy because that lets me
Yeah.
do things easier when I do my live show. So that's, and then an internet connection, which I don't know what's happening there. The elves have quit running in their circle.
Oh,
But
Fabby, maybe. Yeah, but I mean, you say that you're not the go-to live guy, but to me, you are. And I'm sure I'm not the only one because you have been producing live shows for years and years. You try everything, so you know what's best to use, right? So
yeah,
don't sell yourself short there. But yeah, you don't have to be as fancy as Jeff.
you can build community with just a phone.
Yeah,
There's got people who've done it, and you don't have to get all this stuff. So my point is yeah, it's great when you can upgrade stuff and get a better mic and all this stuff. The thing that really probably would help the most is if you could get something that would be permanent where you don't have to set up stuff. You
yeah,
when you have to tear down and like, okay, I got to do a live, so I got to get my mic stand out. I've got to get this out. And one of the things that helped me be the quickest was like, okay, I've got this mic stand on thing. I can move this out of the way when I'm done. My camera is always on there. Like Elisa's camera is always on top of her monitor. So
yep.
she could just go live. And instead of
Anytime.
having to drag stuff out and do things, and even with a phone, sometimes it's like, okay, I gotta get my phone out, gotta get that stand and put it in there. So as soon as you could get something that's permanent, that's attached, where you can just click a button or start some software and you can go live, that will you won't have that little thing in your head going, oh, I gotta set up stuff.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. So, I think what was the original question I got off now?
The equipment that you need.
Yeah.
I think you covered it really well. And I think when it comes to lighting, the best lighting I ever have is from my windows. I don't have any lights on right now. It's just
Right.
natural light. So if you can put your stuff where you have natural light, you won't ever have to worry about
Unless it gets
unless it gets dark.
the thing I would say about that, yes, that's great. And lighting would probably be the last thing I would upgrade. But because of that natural light, depending on and it changes as the seasons go, because I used to do the same thing, is like my videos would be, I could tell what time of year it was because the hue would change in my videos that I'd watch like up on YouTube or something. So just be aware of that with natural lighting, it's great. And I would say lighting would be the last thing you would probably want to upgrade after your audio and your video. But I think having a way you could go consistent and make it easy on you would be the number one thing too.
Yeah. Great. Okay. I think we kind of already answered this, but I wasn't sure that I could do this myself because I knew I wanted to broadcast to more than one place at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Hey Jeff, what can I do that will be the easiest thing in the world?" And you said StreamYard, and I got to tell you, it is so easy. It's so easy from scheduling to sharing on social to managing the comments and the banners that come up. It's it's incredibly easy. And a couple weeks ago, I had Laura Reich on. We were talking about Pinterest predictions, and I tried their little what do they call them? Overlays.
Mm-hmm.
They're so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you have that on my side?
Well, they're on both, right?
Now I'm going to start putting things. Yeah, that is cool.
Yeah.
So I would change.
Yeah,
so
you can do it.
So here's the thing that I would push back, and not just because they're a sponsor of my show. And StreamYard is great, and there's some other ones they're web based. So what that is that you have to have a good web connection, and everything's happening in the cloud. That's great. I love Ecamm, now more than ever because of some of the updates they've done, and they have this interview mode where I can bring people in with what you've been on the show. That's how what we used over at Tailwind, and the reason is because it's processed. The bad thing, it's Mac only. Now your guests don't have to be Mac only, but you as the producer have to have a Mac. But I just love all the cool stuff and it's easy to make a really a customizable show. Because if you look at
Yeah,
my
yours
shows,
does look good.
it's always like I have something, I have usually have an overlay going or something on
Can you do it?
mine. So, am I still here?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was just asking if you can pull it up now or
Oh,
not.
I don't put me up full screen. I don't know if I have it up or not.
Okay.
No, I don't think I do. But I can bring up like my titles. Let's see. So here's what the guest. I don't have it. I have my streaming computer on. That's why. So, but yeah, there's tons of different things you can do. You can pull up the comments, all that kind of things. I have like with my stream, I have all my like sponsors where I could bring them up really quickly, and have those things and like. Oh, so this is great because this goes out to YouTube too. So I can do this. Pull me up full screen again. I have this that I can just hit every once in a while.
Oh, he's frozen again.
And it will see. This is why I don't use StreamYard.
I don't think it's me. I
See, here it is, right here.
Okay,
This
what
is
you
what I'm
got?
gonna do. So it's this little subscribe thing. I'll just put this
Oh,
on for
that's
like
cute.
when it'll just kind of randomly do it while we're talking, and that's a button that I have. So there's really cool stuff you can do. So
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay, so let us know what questions you have about what you should do for a show, what equipment you want to use. Any questions you have, pop them up there. We're here for those questions. Jeff, what mistakes do you see people making when they're doing a live show? Or what mistakes have you made? Maybe you probably haven't made any.
Oh, not being prepared.
Okay.
Like they come and they think they're just like when I said the community and talking to your audience, they think that I'll just go live and I'll take questions, and then nobody shows up, and then they're like
Oof.
they have no questions. So always have talking points or questions, or seed the audience, like go, hey Elisa, come into my show and like ask me questions, so I know what to do. So that's one of the things I would do. The other thing is I see a lot of people who are overly promotional. They go on, and even when they're asking questions of their guests, they'll be like, yeah. And you just see it in their eyes as they're waiting for them to quit talking so they can pitch their thing, and just, and listen. Like if you have somebody, if you're listening to the audience or you have a guest, listen and then ask comments on follow up. Just don't go to your next point. Like think of like, okay, they said this. What would my audience, if they could ask a question or raise their hand, what would they say? And don't pull it back like, you know what, Elisa, that's right. You said Pinterest. Well, I've got a Pinterest course that's just right now on sale. It's right. I wasn't going to mention it, but I'm going to talk about it now. You can just go to, Pinterest course / I'm a goofball.com, whatever, and it's so much about them, and people can pick up on that super, super fast. And so that would be the thing is be prepared. Don't be overly promotional. And then, not ignoring comments in the sections that you see that.
Yeah. One complaint I have seen is get to the point. Talk about the thing you said you were going to talk about. So sometimes we have fun banter, right? We have people on who we know and like. We want to get to know them a little bit better. But just being respectful of why people came, I think that's important as well. I think you're frozen again. Another one, like you said, Jeff, people being too promotional. I think some of the people that watch this show, watch your show, might have the opposite problem in that we give, and have a hard time selling. I'm talking about myself, and I know other people have the same issue. I get to the end of the show, and I'm like, I never even told people what I'm doing. People do want to know what you're up to. And if they're there to listen to you, they probably want what you have to offer as well. So make sure you do do a little bit of at least tell people what you're up to. So Jeff, what are you up to?
So I'm in the middle of launching a new podcast that I'm really excited about that you got to listen to the preview of. So I'm finishing that up. I've got a Descript course.
You have a Descript course? Oh. is gone again. Okay, yes, he does have a new podcast that's coming out
this year.
Oh, we lost you again.
God, I don't know what I have anything me by this.
I don't know, but I was just gonna say that your new podcast that you're doing, if anyone watches or listens to Radio Lab, beautifully produced, cool sound effects, makes you feel like you're kind of in a movie. That's what Jeff's new show is like. Oh, and Brian is being supportive. Technical issues are all part of the learning curve and keeping it real. Yes, you're right. It will happen to you if you have a live show.
That's the other thing is be prepared, because I've only had one show, and I think it was with Elisa. I don't know what it is, Elisa, about you, but
it's always my fault.
Remember when we were doing it was with Kate, and there was like a lightning strike, and I lost internet, like it just died. Remember that?
Yeah.
I've never had. That was the only time I've ever had something like that happen.
I don't know. Last time you were supposed to be on this show, you couldn't get on for the first 40 minutes or something.
That's right. Yeah.
It's something
about your house.
Something about yeah. It's definitely me. Yeah. Okay. So you have this podcast coming out. You have a Descript
course coming. Yes. This month. Yes. So
where are we going to find that when it comes out?
I'm actually building out the website. I told you beforehand. I'm trying to build out the website for it. But yeah, this because I love Descript and my workflow. And I've taught about it a couple of times on different conferences, and every time I talk about it, people are like, "What? It can do what?" So I'm gonna put that together and get that out there as quick as I can, because a lot of people want that. So that's what I'm doing. But I'm also producing a lot of shows, a lot of different podcasts. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Keeps me busy.
It keeps you out of trouble mostly.
Right.
So what I've been up to is I finally remade my Pinterest ads course. So it's at this bit.ly link, Elisa-Pinterest-ads. Yeah, so that was fun. I was doing it for a training anyway, so I thought, well, why not make
Repurposing.
Make it into a course.
Did we talk about repurposing?
No, we have not talked about repurposing. That is the next thing on our list. Okay, so we know we already had kind of a teaser with that. Horse Crazy brought up Descript, which you can use to get little video clips. You can use to get transcription, all that good stuff. What else can you do with your live shows?
So there's tons of, so that's the thing that always has bothered me is content is hard, folks. I don't know if you figure this out, but it's hard to do. And it seems like we go, okay, I did this, I'm going to go to the next thing. And we don't, and we're like, it's not working. And you have got to squeeze all the juice you can out of it. And one of the cool things about live shows is it's built for repurposing. So for mine, I do the live show, get a lot, decent amount of viewers on the live because I go everywhere. I send it to Amazon as a destination, and I make sales with that as I'm doing the live show, and it stays there afterwards. I also, it's a podcast because some people like to consume it as a podcast. And that's another way that I do that. I have sponsorships, so I make money with the sponsorships on the live show as well. So, and then what I do is I take that when it's done using what we've talked about with the script and actually chopping it up and then repurposing it throughout all my social channels. Like I mentioned before, 3 to 5 different sections after each show is I have, and those go onto Agora Pulse and they're continually looped through, because I have so many of them now from doing it for a year. They're those are seeding out on my socials, which lead back to my website, which also has my sponsor posts on it, which are affiliate links, which also you can make money off of that way. So there's so many things you can do with live video. And that's why I'm so bullish on Descript, because it makes it easy to chop it up into all these different pieces. So there's so many different things you can do with it. You got a transcript once you're done, which is great for SEO and for writing a blog post with. And so you have all this content, and people are like, okay, I got to figure out my next show. Stop and think about all the things you have. And every time I share out these clips, I'm tagging those people who were on my show. So one, they see it, and most of the time they retweet it or repost it or whatever. And two, they see that being on my show is valuable to them because I'm promoting them so much. Like I'm like, if Lisa, like she was like, Lisa gave some great Pinterest tips. Make sure you check out the show. You can find her here, and here's my sponsor, blah blah blah. And I can constantly be cranking those out and answering questions for people. So, and those also can be uploaded to YouTube as standalone videos. So, There's so much you can have. You can
Yeah,
almost get overwhelmed, and the key
you
is
could.
not to be overwhelmed and start taking one. Say like, okay, I'm going to take one clip out of each one of my shows. Okay, I'm going to do that. Okay, I got that. I got that process down. Okay, now I'm going to make a podcast out of my show, and I don't do much. I mean, I know how to sweeten it and make it sound really cool. I have an intro and an outro. I put those at the beginning and the end, and then I put my show up. I don't go in through and take all the ums and ahs out. Now, if Elisa starts
Yeah, I used
cursing
to do
uncontrollably and she's on my show, I'll take that part out.
that.
Or
Thanks.
a coughing fit
Thanks,
or
Jeff.
something, or her cat's, she steps on her cat or something. I'll take that out. But for the most time, I just repurpose it. I've never had anybody go, Jeff, you should take all your ums and ahs out. I would listen to your
Right.
show if you would do that. Nobody's ever done that.
Yeah.
So for repurposing live show, it's a different form of podcast, but it still gets you downloads
Yeah.
and people listening.
Yeah, and one of the things to keep in mind, there are a few shows that I have done that I have not published as a podcast, just because I know it would not
Right.
translate to audio, and we did that before when we worked
Right.
together. You know, if it's so visual that you would never get anything out of it if it was
Right.
just audio, then you just don't use it.
When we would do the pin reviews, that'd be
Yeah.
really an awful
It,
podcast.
it would be really
Yeah.
irritating.
Yeah.
What I see here is a shoe and
And
a
and that's
yeah.
one thing you start thinking about is especially when you start doing screen shares and stuff like that. Those are okay. Just remember, and I would always tease Elisa, I'd say, use your words. You know, when we do it,
Yes, you do have to describe
you
what you're
have to like
seeing.
describe it because you got to think about the podcast thing as well. So
Yeah.
if somebody brings up something, I will say like, oh, by the way, if you're listening to this, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
And it's you just have to train yourself to do that. And after that, it's pretty easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You mentioned Amazon Live. That is something
Yes.
I have not gotten into, and I know you're a big proponent of it because it gets you affiliate sales, which is very cool.
And thousands of views every week.
And
So
thousands of views. How are you doing that?
so it's just like another destination using some of these programs, and Restream is the one I use. There's
Okay.
some technical things that you have to do. I did. You have to be part of Amazon's influencer program, which I didn't even know I was
How do
part
you
of,
do that?
but I had it from before because Leslie Samuel had this really cool landing page one year, and I was like, how do I get that? And you have to go apply, and they look at your social feed, and they give you access. It wasn't a big deal, but
Okay.
I already had live, and so I just used it as a destination. And
Oh,
so the people, and I'm barely scratching the surface. I'm just going there as a destination and trying at the beginning of the show to talk about some tech so it's relevant to people. But I've had last week, and I've had it Kim before message me, Kim Gar messaged me going, I was on Amazon looking at a camera and your video came up, because when you're live, depending on what you have in your carousel at the bottom and stuff, it will show up on pages. And then last week,
wild.
a friend of Ian said, "Hey, I saw you on Amazon. We were going. I was searching for things, and you for this camera, and you came up." So there's some. It's the Wild West over there right now. So it's really really cool. It's really fun. Shopping is growing by leaps and bounds. Social shopping. It's been huge
Mm,
in China for years. It's coming over here now. Amazon is killing it with that right now. I mean, it's just it's just a lot of fun. And my show's different enough that it's not an unboxing video. It's usually talking about stuff that people watch it over there too. So
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Her friend Dara says she didn't know Amazon Lives were a thing. Oh, they're a
Oh
thing.
yeah,
They
they
are
are.
a
There's
thing.
it's like QVC over on Amazon, and
Yeah.
some of my friends killed it on Black Friday. And like I said, if you go and if you're part of the program and you start doing lives, then you have access to other things you can do. I really need to go and just do some product review videos, and
Oh,
they'll
yeah,
live
you
on the
should.
page. There's a ton of
Hmm.
different things you can do. I've done my wood carving over there just for fun. Sold knives from doing that over there.
That's
So
wild.
yeah, it's like you have your own QVC channel. So
Yeah.
it's a lot of fun.
I was listening to a podcast this morning, a marketing podcast, and it was about, trends for Web 3.0
Yeah.
and trends 2022 and beyond. And one of them was audio shopping,
Mm,
that they think audio shopping will be a big thing, like Amazon, order my dishwashing liquid, or
yeah.
Alexa, place an order for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I
But
can
if
see
you're
that.
doing live video, you might as well go ahead and look at it as something, an option, and trying to get in there now while you
That's what
can.
I'm
Because
that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
yeah, because there's I mean, I look around on my desk and go like, I could just go live right now and talk about this mug that I use every day. My little rechargeable mug by Ember.
For
It,
rechargeable
it
mug.
is. It actually, and I can set the temperature because I hate when tea gets cold, and I can keep
Uh-huh.
it at a it's an app on my phone, and it'll keep my
That's
thing.
bizarre. Ember,
So
they're the same ones who make that bracelet, right? That like
no, this is Ember's. I know what you're talking about, but this is it's Ember mugs. I've used I got them from my parents and everybody. I love them. They're expensive, but they're amazing if you like to drink hot things.
cool. All right.
So
So I do have one Pinterest announcement.
oh no,
It's not a big one.
is it
So
live?
yeah. So you know how you when you want to change your Pinterest name, right? So it
Mm-hmm.
might be Jeff C, Pinterest marketer, whatever. Um, it's really hard to do it on desktop. They limit you to just a certain number of characters. So people have been hacking it by going over to mobile and changing it because they want to get their keywords in there. So Pinterest sent out an Instagram story yesterday saying, like, "Hey, you don't have to do that anymore because we know what you're posting. So your name, your account will show just based on what you're posting. So you don't have to put your keywords in your username anymore or your Pinterest name."
Hmm. Interesting.
I still want mine there.
So let's talk about Pinterest Live because it's this, it's not
Oh,
really
Pinterest
live.
Live. Like, no, 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 no. Not the
You don't think it's you? I think it. Do you not think they're gonna? I think they're gonna open up live for normal people next year.
Yeah, I think eventually they probably will. So if you don't know what we're talking about, Pinterest had a couple of events this year where they had live shows. It might be like a cooking demonstration or fashion
Knitting,
or
yeah.
knitting, whatever. And there was social selling involved in there. So you could buy while you were watching. It was very, very curated and just very fancy people doing it. But yeah, I think it could
I think it's
be
coming this year because,
this
and
year.
here's why: is because social selling is going to go crazy this year.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to want to get a piece of Amazon's pie. Instagram's going to do it, and then Pinterest is going to go, "Whoa, we're going to do it too." So I just think that's what's going to happen. I think Instagram has already announced that they are going to add shopping, live shopping, and do some more stuff
Yes.
for them.
I thought they already did have some.
Yeah, I don't think it's open to that many people yet, but I think everything's gonna open up more, um, and I think that that I think Pinterest will too, which will be interesting because I would really love to be able to go live to my followers on Pinterest, so that would be cool.
Yes, as would I. Okay, it's gonna be good times. All right, so thank you for being here. I'm gonna pull up Jeff's link again so you can check out his Friday show, Social Media News Live, 11 a.m. Eastern
We got a
on
great
Friday.
show this week.
What you
It's
got?
all about productivity. We're gonna be talking about how to be productive in 2022, and I got my pal Eric Fisher who does
Oh,
Beyond
he's
the To Do
good.
List. Yeah,
He's good. Yeah.
so it's gonna be going.
Okay, so we have some good stuff coming up on this show as well. I'm trying to think, what do we have? Oh, next week, Mary Rose Lyons. She is going to be talking about our LinkedIn profile. So I'm
Cool.
excited about that one personally.
Did she help you with yours when you were
Um,
doing?
no,
Oh, I
nope.
thought
She's
you.
somebody I met at Mark Schaefer's The Uprising, and
Oh yeah.
she's very cool, very smart. So we're gonna do that. We have some more cool stuff coming up for social. I've been spending a lot of time on LinkedIn lately because I've been looking for a job, looking for clients, and there's a lot going on over there. It's not as stodgy as it
We
used to
didn't talk
be.
about LinkedIn Live, which is
Yeah,
really really good. Are you going there?
yeah.
Okay. I love LinkedIn Live.
Why?
I
What do you love
Because
about
I
it?
get a lot of interaction over there,
Do
and I
you?
think it's because of consistency. And
Okay.
I also post clips of my show to my LinkedIn profile, so I think that helps too. But
Yeah, I bet it
yeah, I
does.
think I really like LinkedIn Live.
Yeah.
So
Yep. I think it's a much more interesting place than it used to be just a couple of years ago. There's a lot going on.
especially if you're
So,
doing business based stuff or niche things, because there's those, that's what people are there to look at, that kind of content. So
yep.
it makes sense for my show and stuff. So
Yep. Me too.
I just confused my Alexa.
Did you?
Alexa, buy toilet paper. So,
Alexa, unfog his camera. Okay. Thank you for being here, Jeff, and for bringing the tech excitement. But really appreciate all these tips. And I hope that this has inspired at least somebody to want to go live this year. Let us know if you have questions, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.